Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alita, and I'm with RespiteServices.com. Okay, is everyone okay with, am I speaking too quickly, or it's okay? Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm from RespiteServices.com. So we have about 4 individuals that we work with together in our office to try to coordinate respite for families living in the Toronto area. Okay, is anyone familiar with respite or what respite is? See any hands? Yeah, a little bit? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what respite is, kind of the benefits for you as the caregiver, the family, as well as for the individual. So there's benefits on both sides of it, as well as talk a little bit too about how to access respite. So I'll be going through some examples of different agencies with respite programs, as well as talking about the Chap Program, which is a database that we have at respiteservices.com. So this is an opportunity to engage the services of a one-to-one support worker for either in-home support or more community-based support, okay? So I'll be going in a little bit how to access those services. Okay, so to start off, what is respite? So respite basically is a short planned break for a caregiver or a family, so you can take part and get a little bit of an emotional and physical break from the daily demands of caregiving, okay? So it creates greater opportunities for all family members to live actively and participate in the community activities, as well as allow caregivers and families to get a bit of a break and time for yourselves as well. So that break could be things like cooking, cleaning, hanging out with other family members. That could be just getting some rest, some sleep, or maybe a vacation, or going to visit other parts of the city and do things that normally maybe you don't really get the opportunity to do. Okay? So respite looks a little bit different for every family. For some families, they really are looking for like a one-to-one worker every day to come into the home either after school or in the evening time to provide support. Whereas for some families, it may just be a weekend of respite here and there. So maybe once a month or once every 2 months, you would drop your child off, or the adult or the individual, off at a respite home for the weekend, where they would be provided with food, activities, day-to-day tasks. They would sleep there, and then you would pick them up on a Sunday, okay? So depending what works for your family or what you're interested in, we can kind of plan and work together to see what respite looks like for you, okay? So respite can take place regularly or intermittently. There's a bit of a typo there, my apologies. So I'm going to provide some examples of what respite is. So a respite program differs a little bit from, say, a recreational program. Usually a recreational program is a little bit shorter, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, whereas a respite program typically starts at least 2 hours, up to a full 24 hours, or a full weekend, or a full break, okay? So something respite is not. So respite is not crisis or emergency support. So like I said at the beginning, respite is usually a planned break. So let's say maybe you know you're going in for surgery, or you're going maybe away for a weekend within the year. You want to get the opportunity to start connecting to maybe a respite home or a respite worker in this year to start planning for that time that you might be away, where you would need someone to sort of look after the individual in your life that needs some additional support. Okay? Any questions so far, or we're okay? Okay. So to start off here, I'm just going to look at the benefits of respite for the individual, okay? So it does provide the opportunity to teach new skills to foster social and emotional skills. So some individuals too are working on life skills, like maybe money management or maybe independence on the TTC. And instead of you being the one to sort of foster and engage them in that skill development, you can always look at engaging the services of a one-to-one worker to maybe help them work on those skills together. So again, this could be someone you hire or pay maybe once a week, maybe once a month to help work on these skills together and to take part in different activities that maybe the individual or the adult doesn't normally get to participate in, okay? It provides opportunities to promote independence. So this could even be at looking at a worker to start engaging, like I said, working on TTC, accessibility, and maybe then that worker sort of phases out. So the individual then becomes independent on the TTC in a matter of weeks, months, or even a year. So that could be another option. Maybe it's not ongoing, it's just for a certain period of time, okay? And allows the individual to socialize with other individuals in a group or one-to-one setting. So a lot of programs, respite, we often think of respite as a break for the caregiver, but also fun activities, right? So in a respite program too, a lot of the times they might do arts and crafts, they might go for outings, there might be different skills that they're working on, often either in a group setting, so engaging and working with other individuals, or if they do have a one-to-one support worker there, just trying to engage and incorporate everyone together as well. Okay? And again, an opportunity to get a break from the caregiver or family. So sometimes as a parent, you might feel like you need a little bit of a break from the child or the individual in your life. On the flip side of that too, they may want a break from you. So this is something that we sometimes hear from adults, that maybe, the parent is always asking them to do things. So sometimes they might want a friend or a worker just to go and do different activities with. So for example, through the Chap program, we have some workers that often take individuals to Variety Village, which is in the East End. So in the morning, they come over, they go down, they take the bus together to Variety Village, Wheel-Trans. They play basketball, they go swimming, and for the individual, it's a nice opportunity, or the adult, to engage with someone else for a change too, right? Develop that relationship and hang out with a new friend, okay? Any questions? No? Okay. So now on the flip side of that too, we talk about the benefits for the caregiver or the family member. So oftentimes we speak to families too with children as young as newborns, 2 years old, about the importance of respite kind of for life. So a lot of this stuff and advocacy that we do and speaking to families is starting to access respite even at a young age. That way individuals too are used to maybe not staying at home all the time or having different individuals in their lives throughout their lifespan. So this is nice to kind of avoid caregiver burnout and stress and the fatigue too that you may be experiencing too as the caregiver. It also allows for more quality time with other family members. So if there are siblings or other family members, you may not have the opportunity to engage with them as much as you might like to. So this would provide a bit of a break where you can also engage with other siblings or other children as well, okay? It also allows the caregiver the ability to maintain friendships and self-care and benefits for the entire family. So there's a lot of stuff recently too in the news about the importance of self-care for everyone, right? So this could be self-care, maybe you're not sleeping throughout the night, so this could be a good opportunity to maybe get a good night's sleep, maybe once a month or once every so often to get that break. And here too is another one, caregivers have the chance to tend to important household needs. So we always know that cleaning and doing the laundry, that kind of takes a back burner on everyday, day-to-day tasks. So getting a bit of a break might give you the opportunity to actually look after, do some laundry, do some dishes, kind of neaten things up a little bit, because now you might have a few hours on the weekend or throughout the week to do those chores and activities with. Okay. So this is some feedback from families that we've received. So you can see in the first slide here that respite means I can gather strength and energy to do all of the caregiving. This is a single mom where the individual sees the father every other weekend, but she needs a bit of a break too, just so she can be her best and rest some of the time too. So it can be challenging too as a single parent too, working full time, trying to manage everyone's needs as well. So she really stated the importance too, that giving her a break allows her to do some cleaning and do some yoga, which was for her the self-care that she needed to tend to her daily tasks and daily living. And the other one over there is just giving respite as an interaction with other children, providing support in sort of a group environment to work on social or communication skills. Okay. So now that I've given you a bit of a backstory on what respite is, our agency at respiteservices.com aims to connect families to respite options in the city of Toronto. So respiteservices.com is provincial-wide. So we're in Toronto. That's what our office primarily supports, individuals living in Toronto. But if you were to move to Peel or York Region or Durham, for example, you can always go on the website at respiteservices.com and connect to like workers, Chap workers, or other individuals and programs in different areas. Okay? So we aim to really connect family with resources and information that you're looking for respite. Okay, so this is who we serve. So Some of you too may be 18 or older, and some of you still might be 16 or 17 years old. So we do provide support and respite also to individuals under 18 with a developmental disability, including autism, or individuals under 18 with a physical disability. And then for DSO2, for individuals over 18 with a developmental disability, including autism. So all of the services that we connect families to, again, individuals would just need to be eligible through DSO, okay? And again, for our office, living in the Toronto region. Okay, so there's a couple of different roles within our office that we provide support to families for. So Respite Options facilitators, so that's half of my job. So this is meeting with families, discussing sort of what you're looking for in terms of respite. So if you were maybe looking to get connected to overnight respite options, you would speak to me. I would let you know what options were available, and then giving you the information to then connect to those agencies directly. Okay. The second portion there is Chap Facilitation. So this is if you were looking for a one-to-one support worker through the Chap Program. We would talk to you or meet with you and explain what the Chap Program is, which I'll be doing so in a minute, how to engage the services of a one-to-one support worker and sort of what you're looking for in terms of goal building or support on weekends or evenings. And then we have our Toronto Respite Network facilitators. So we work with about 30 agencies within the city of Toronto. A lot of those agencies are in the next room too with booths set up. So we work collaboratively with all of those agencies together to try to figure out for respite what families are looking for. Okay, so we have a couple of different options here too. So in our office, which is located inside the Geneva Center for Autism, which is close to Yonge and Davisville, we do have a family orientation session. So this is similar to this kind of setting where we have families coming together and we talk about the different respite options, explaining the process of connecting in sort of a group format. If you're not comfortable in a group format or you wanted to just meet with someone one-to-one to express what you're looking for individually, we can also connect you to a Respite Options facilitator and you can sit down and meet with someone that way as well. Okay, so these are different ways of how to connect to our agency. So obviously our name is respiteservices.com, so we do have a website, so our online version here. So you can click directly on our website and fill out the information on our website. If you're not as tech savvy or you're not really able to navigate it online, you can also call us, and I'll provide the phone number at the end where you can call us directly and complete the registration over the phone. And if you are working with an agency or someone that's helping you kind of navigate through the system, there is an agency referral that they can fill out and submit your information to us on your behalf. And then we can follow up with you to talk about sort of what you're looking for in terms of respite. Okay. So normally what happens is when you come through our intake line, which is essentially the registration, we do talk about our orientation session, which is group learning. So in that, we provide information through our respite guide. We talk about the Chap program, maybe some additional funding options that you may also be eligible for. And then part of respite is also camp. Okay, so I know for individuals too between 18 and 21 that are still in school, there is that summer portion that can be a little bit difficult, trying to come up with different activities or day-to-day things that individuals are able to do. So you can always connect with us to get some information about different camp options within the city of Toronto. Even individuals older than 21, there are also other camp options if that's what you're looking for as well. So we do have a booklet that we put together every year that outlines the different areas too, what the camp is, what kind of support is provided, and a rough estimation of the cost of camp, okay? Okay, so these are some examples of out-of-home respite options. So we have a whole booklet too with different information, but kind of for the sake of time here too, we've presented two of them here. So the top one is Community Living Toronto. So they currently, for individuals over 18, have 3 respite homes. They do have a 4th one called Sibley, but it's going through renovations shortly. So these are the 3 main options for community living. So they do offer day support as well as overnight support, serving individuals 18 years age older with a diagnosis of a developmental disability. Okay, so they have one home. Gilly is in North York, McMillan is in Scarborough, and Wellsworth is in Etobicoke. So they do have their options planned out across the city of Toronto. So if that's something that you're looking to connect with, you can either connect directly to Community Living Toronto, or you can connect with us again to get all of the information. Another example here is Mary Centre. So Mary Centre is close to Finch and Dufferin. They also offer overnight support and respite for families. Okay, so these are just two examples out of a few that are funded by the ministry. So within these as well, the price range is a little bit more affordable than some of the private options. So for example, Community Living Toronto, their price is partially funded by the ministry as well, so it makes it a little bit more affordable for families to access, similar to Mary Centre. Okay, so if you're looking to get the information for any of these places, you can connect to the agencies directly, or you can connect to us and we can provide all of the information to you. Okay, the second portion here that I'm going to speak to you about is called the Chap Program. So this is called Community Helpers for Active Participation, and it's basically a database of one-to-one support workers that families can get connected to learn a little bit more about how to hire a worker, how to engage the services of a one-to-one worker, ultimately how to pay the worker, and talk and negotiate about what you're looking for. Is anyone interested in looking for one-to-one support? Potentially? Okay, perfect. So at the bottom here, it does state that the database is updated regularly. So we do always have new individuals coming onto our database. So every month, there are new workers that we're adding onto the Chap database and through the Chap program. So if you're not able to find, maybe successfully right away, a worker that you're able to connect to, you can always reconnect with us the next month, and there should be new individuals on there that you can connect to. Do you have a question? I'm going to get to that, yeah, I'll get to that, yeah. Okay, so again, this is just sort of outlining too. So we do say skilled and independent respite providers. So all of the individuals on the database, we do a screening for, and I'll get to that in a second, but we do look for individuals that have various backgrounds. So some of the individuals on our database have nursing backgrounds, some of them are teachers or educational assistants in the school, some of them work in group homes, respite homes, camps, other group programs. So everyone has experience, so that's something we primarily look for. And they're also interested in supporting individuals with developmental and physical disabilities. So some of them are doing kind of Chap full-time, so they're working with multiple families. Other individuals have full-time employment and are sort of doing this on the side and evening or weekend support, okay? So as a parent or caregiver, ultimately, we are kind of the facilitators to connect you to the workers. But then from there, we do encourage you to do your own interview to meet with the individual. And you would be responsible for paying the worker directly. So similar, or actually the opposite to like an employment agency where the money kind of filters through the employment agency, with the Chap program, you would just pay the worker directly. So whatever rate of pay you agree upon and negotiate with them, you would just pay them that fee directly for an hourly basis. And for payment too, some families have passport funding or ODSP that they would use to then pay the workers and get reimbursed, say, through passport. Some families choose to just pay out of pocket for the worker to maybe have them come a few hours a month. So whatever agreement you make upon with the worker, just make sure that's all kind of outlined in an agreement with them so you're both on the same page with that information. So again, like I said before, there's no charge for the use of the Chap program. We're funded just to facilitate the matches between the workers and the families. So we don't take any percentage of that. So again, everything is just completely negotiated between the workers. So this is our screening process. So with all of the individuals on the Chap database, we do a phone screening. So once they apply, we call them and sort of discuss what their experience is and the previous experience they've had either in school placements, community placements, or even one-to-one support. We then invite them in for an in-person screening, which is very similar to an interview. So we go through a bunch of information about their experience and kind of the support that they've provided previously. They do require a vulnerable sector screen police check when they come onto the database. So that is a requirement in order to add them onto the database, okay? And if that's something you as a family wanted to see again, when you meet with them, you can also request to see a copy of their vulnerable sector screen police check, okay? And then we also do a reference check. So we check 2 references. So these could be previous employers or families that they've worked with, and we make sure that they have experience that they've provided on their resume. And then we do an information session where we explain a little bit more about how we connect workers and families together, okay? And sort of what that looks like. So one of the important things we talk to families and caregivers about too is just identifying your needs when you're looking for a respite worker. So some families come to us and just say, I just need a break. It doesn't matter what they do together. I just need my son out of the house for a few hours on the weekend just so I can do some things for myself. So what we primarily ask are some of these questions. So do you need a worker or a respite provider with a driver's license? Are they okay on wheel-trans or taking the TTC? Okay. Do you need someone that can swim? So let's say, for example, you're going to the community center, maybe Variety Village, you're looking for someone to take your child or the adult swimming. So you might want to make sure you find someone that's able to support them in the pool. Okay. Also, too, if the individual has medical needs or medication, you might want a worker, too, that has valid first aid and CPR or some other sort of education or training so that you feel more comfortable with them going together. Okay? So these are just some examples of things to think about before looking to engage the services of a respite provider. Okay, so we have a couple of different ways that we would look for a respite provider. So we can do a search on our end to look for workers, but we also have the ability as a family, if you know exactly what you're looking for, on our website, once you register with us and complete our consent form, there is a part on our website where you can post a little ad. So similar to like a newspaper where there's a classified ad, this is also a platform, like an online platform, where you can post a little bit about what you're looking for. So as you can see here, it's confidential. There's no names or contact information directly on our website. Everyone has an identification number. So this family has briefly outlined the description of the individual. Okay. Right below that is an area where you can indicate what the worker's role will be. So essentially, what are you looking for in terms of support or goal or skill building? Okay. Then you want to identify the availability of when you're looking for a respite provider. So here, for example, it's 2 days a week after school, possibility of other days as well. And the rate of pay is negotiable. Okay. So there's no set rate of pay specifically about what the workers charge families. I would say it sort of varies anywhere between $17 to $20 an hour. So depending on what kind of support is needed, basically, or how much funding you have to kind of allot to the worker, you can talk to them about what you're able to pay and see if you guys can come to the same page on that. The closest information it has is talking about the main intersection. So that just gives the workers or the respite providers an idea about how far they're having to travel to provide support, okay? And then the date it was posted. So as a family, we have a whole section here on our website. So if this is something you wanted to do, you can register directly on our website, and then you can complete one of these as well. That way, all of the individuals that are registered with us through the Chap program, they can respond directly to your ad, which basically looks like a resume, and then you would follow up with them directly, okay? I'm going to show you on the flip side of that. We also have the CHAP workers, or independent respite providers, that also have the ability to post an ad on our website. So similar to the families, it gives a little description about their education and experience. So here, for example, this worker lives at Eglinton and Spadina. Okay. They worked as a youth worker for 3 years. They've also outlined their education co-op. Okay. And now here they've also listed their availability. So they're available Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 5. So they do have a minimum requirement to engage the services with families. The one that we advertise is a minimum of 2 hours. Okay. So some workers, if they're traveling a little bit farther, they may ask for a little bit more hours, so maybe 3 hours. They've listed their main intersection again. They've also listed their rate of pay range. So this worker, and specifically, is looking for $18 to $20 an hour. and they've also posted their gender. So some individuals may specifically be looking for a male worker, maybe a female worker, maybe they're open to any gender. So that's entirely up to you to kind of figure out, but we have a lot of independent workers, as you can see here, that have posted. So this is another avenue that you can also look for a respite provider. Okay? And if this looks a little overwhelming to you or you don't really know how to navigate, again, you can just call us and we can update everything for you over the phone. Okay. So again, if you are working with an agency, either a case manager, a service navigator, or maybe someone that's just kind of helping you navigate the system, they can always step in to receive the worker profiles on your behalf. We can send them to you as well as the agency or the worker, or the worker that you're working with. And they can also help support you through the interviewing process too. So they can help. Maybe they can set the interviews up for you to meet the individuals if you're maybe nervous about doing it yourself. Okay. This is Respite Options Facilitation. So again, if this is you're looking to connect to Respite Options and maybe having a difficult time connecting to the agency directly, we can always connect you with a one-to-one worker from our office and sit down and kind of go through short-term assignments with a goal in mind. So if you are looking for the one-to-one worker through the Chap program, we can sit with you and explain in a little bit more detail about what that looks like, how to navigate the Chap database, and then how to connect you to workers. So the only thing we're not able to do as Respite Options facilitators is actually connect the agency directly for you on your behalf. So we can provide you with all of the information, but we are a mediator model, so we provide you with the information for you to then go and connect to the services. If there are difficulties or you're having a hard time doing that, reconnect with us, and then we can kind of feel things out and help you a little bit through that process. Okay? Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm just curious, about that last line there. Not all families are assigned to a Respite Options facilitator.
Yep.
Could you explain that?
Of course, yeah. So in our office, like I said before, we only have 4 of us that sort of help families navigate for the City of Toronto. So we have an intake line which we rotate through our office. So right initially upon intake, you could talk to someone over the phone for about 10, 20, 30 minutes too about what you're looking for. And usually that person can kind of connect you to services or send you all of the information. But if you wanted to then schedule a meeting to sit down with someone, that's when you would be assigned to a Respite Options facilitator. But families that are a little more independent or know exactly what they want, we wouldn't normally assign them because you already have an idea about what you're looking for. But then our intake line, you can always reconnect to us and we can just provide more information. So yeah. You're welcome. Okay, like I said before, our meetings are usually in our office. So these are, again, close to Yonge and Davisville, which I know isn't the most convenient for everyone to get to. So we also have the ability to, we can set up a meeting with you over the phone and talk about what you're looking for and explain everything over the phone if you're having a difficult time coming into our office. Okay, so this is a really kind of fun, interesting program. So this is completely funded by Tourism Toronto. So this is called the Tourism Toronto Relax, Recharge, Renew program. So this is basically a lottery for families living in Toronto to win a free weekend where the primary caregiver, along with one other person, is able to go out in the City of Toronto and get basically a free limo ride to a hotel, free hotel for 2 nights. Okay. They also pay too for all of the food, all of the excursions and experiences that you have during that weekend. So it's a really good program. The feedback has been amazing. So some of the activities and things that people go to, they go to like the ROM, they may get tickets to the aquarium, they may get gift cards too to certain restaurants in Toronto or even Tim Hortons that you can go and you can get food for. So again, like I said, this is a lottery. So the application does need to be made on behalf of a service provider or someone that you're working with or connected to. So if your child is still in school, maybe there's a teacher or an EA or someone that could fill out the application for you. Or, if you're casually associated with any agency, including like Surrey Place, that's an application they can also make on your behalf and submit it to our agency. So it says here the lottery draw occurs in the fall. So we just did the draw a few weeks ago for all of the families that were selected for 2020. So at this point in time, essentially what would happen is if you need the application form, you can connect with our office or direct the service provider you're working with to connect with us, and we can send you the form. And what they'll do is they'll put it in the lottery for 2021 at this point, which I know seems really far away, but it's a good surprise too if you are selected, because then you would have a free weekend in 2021. So again, it's completely free. It's a lottery that selects the winners, but there's usually about 24 to 25 families every year that are selected, and the feedback has been really, really good. So if you have any questions about that, you can also talk to me at the booth later, and I can explain a little bit more about the program. Okay. I saw some smiles there too, so I feel like this is a good option. Okay. Something else I wanted to touch on for respite. So respite planning timelines. So like I said at the beginning, respite is not really a crisis or an emergency. It's usually planned in advance. So we do have a kind of a breakdown of when to start planning for respite. So depending on what you're looking for, the timeline varies a little bit. So if you are looking for a CHAP worker, maybe you know for December, you may want someone coming in for the winter break, maybe a few days. We would say for the Chap program to connect with us about a month or 6 weeks in advance of when you're looking for that respite worker, okay? If you are looking for out-of-home options, they do vary based on the agency that you connect with. Sometimes you might be able to get connected pretty quickly and go through their intake process. Sometimes, depending on the agency, it may take 6 months to get an actual weekend, okay? So again, it depends on the agency, it depends on the age and where you're looking to connect to. So we can also give you a better idea about when you connect with us and how long it may take to connect, okay? This is some information too about camp planning timelines. So as we know, there are some camps that do fill out quite quickly. Other ones too seem to have a lot more availability. So this is roughly, if you are looking for summer camp, to maybe start connecting to that camp in February or March. That's when some of the registration begins. For winter break, October is a good time. Some of the camps have already opened, some have already filled up, unfortunately. But that's usually a good time to start connecting, is the beginning of October. And then for March break, December is usually a good time to start connecting. Agencies will come out with their information. The funding application, this is a little more directed towards individuals under 18. But depending on what funding you are, I would say connect to the funding options as quickly as you can. Yeah, any questions about the timelines? No? Okay. Okay. So this is just a message to families. So again, connecting to us will let you know what funding might be available and just to become a little more familiar with the respite options. So I provided here our intake and information line phone number. So you can see again, it's 416-322-6317, extension 1. If you also wanted to email us, you can email us at info@respiteservices.com. So it can take us up to 2 business days to get back in touch with you just because it's pretty busy. But I just wanted to quickly show you on our website just where you can fill out the information. Okay. So again, our website, respiteservices.com. And we're living in the city of Toronto. We're in the city of Toronto right now, so it would just be /Toronto. So again, this will take you to our main website. So there's a lot of information listed here, okay? If you wanted to register, on the left-hand side, there is family registration, and you can complete everything directly on the website. There are also respite options listed here. So this will provide you with an idea about some of the agencies that we connect families to. So there is a brief description and a little more information about all of the options listed on our website. If you are looking for camp options, we also have a guide that we list here, but you can also connect with us for, I think, a more updated version. Okay? And then finally, on the left-hand side, we do have a calendar of events. So this is where we get information from other agencies that we're able to post directly on our website. So it has some more information about things going on in the community, different events or different programs that you can also register to. Okay? Any questions from anyone? No? Does anyone feel a little bit better about knowing what respite is or how to sort of connect at this point? Okay. We know that respite too, it's a little confusing for some families to kind of understand the concept of it or what it is, and it does sort of vary depending what you're looking for. But if anything was unclear, I would say just connect directly back to us. We can explain a little bit more about it. Our orientation session is a really good starting point of letting you know all of the options. And then from there, deciding what's best for your family is sort of what you're looking for in terms of a one-to-one worker or out-of-home respite options. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.